Hey everyone, probably the most common thing that I hear when students come to me is asking, how do I break out of the minor pentatonic box? If that sounds like you, this is going to give you a really great way to start to do that and see how you can add some other notes into the equation. Now, don't get me wrong, the minor pentatonic is a great starting point for playing over a lot of stuff, especially over blues. If I'm playing over 12-bar blues, that is my default. I'm always starting with the minor pentatonic. And for the purposes of this lesson, we're going to be talking in the key of A. So we want to just make sure we're on the same with that page with that minor pentatonic. We're going to take just box 1 of that scale right here at the 5th fret. So we have A, C, D, E, and G. And then in the top octave, we play that C on the top, and there we have it. So that'll be our starting point. But if you want to start breaking outside of that, what we have to look at first is our chords. So if we're playing over a blues in A, we're thinking about our chords are going to be an A dominant 7, a D dominant 7, and an E dominant 7. Now, when I take a look at those chords, I'll notice that a lot of the notes in those chords we already have in that A minor pentatonic scale. So if I look at that A dominant 7, the notes that I have in an A7 chord are A, C sharp, E, and G. And we'll notice that, okay, that A, that E, and that G we already have in the A minor pentatonic. It's the root, it's the 5th, and then it's the flat 7. The one note that we don't have is that C sharp. Now, where could we play that C sharp in close proximity to that A minor pentatonic in box 1? Well, I could play it at the 9th fret of the low E string. I could also play it at the 4th fret of the A string. If I go up an octave, I could play it at the 6th fret of the G string. And then, of course, I could also play it at the 9th fret of the high E string. So that would be that C sharp, which is the 3rd of the A7 chord, and where we can find it. And if we just insert that note over the A7 chord, and often what I'll do to practice this, and I'll demonstrate this, is just land on that note right on the downbeat to get used to it, it's going to really start to give the sound of that chord. And we go from having lines where maybe it's just to more like this. Starts to sound like we're outlining that A7 chord. Now we need to do the same thing for the D7 and the E7. Now for the D7, what we'll find is we have kind of a similar situation where 3 of the notes we already have in our A minor pentatonic. The D, which is our root of that chord, and it would be the 4th in the A minor pentatonic. The A, which would be the 5th of the chord, and of course our root in the A minor pentatonic. And then our flat 7 there would be C, which flat 7 to the chord, and it's the flat 3 in the A minor pentatonic. So those notes we all have in the A minor pentatonic scale, but we don't have the 3rd of the D7, because a D7 would be the D, F sharp, A, and C. So where can we play that F sharp in close proximity? Now I know I reached for that one up the neck, but really the most useful places would be at the 4th fret of the D string and an octave up at the 7th fret of the B. And what that's going to give us over that 4 chord is, instead of just, again, playing the minor pentatonic, now we can play things like this. So for the 5 chord, that E7, we have E, G sharp, B, and D. Now we only have 2 of those notes in the A minor pentatonic. We have the E and we have the D, which means the G sharp and the B are notes that we don't already have. Now, often kind of following the same thing, the third is a really, really important note in giving us the quality of the chord. So often I like to start just with adding maybe that G sharp, which we could find at the 6th fret of the D string or the 4th fret of the high E string an octave up. And I can do a lot just outlining that E7 chord by adding that G sharp. So I could play something like, sounds very much like I'm outlining that chord. But I could also involve the B. Where can I play the B? I can play it at the 7th fret of the low E string, at the 4th fret of the G string, or 7th fret of the high E string, and that brings in some cool possibilities where I can outline using both those notes. So something like, which sounds really good there. I come down there. Now if I want to outline that, and you hear, even without a backing track behind me, you can start to hear those chords because I'm not limited to just the notes in the pentatonic, but I'm adding those thirds of the chords and then also the 5th of the 5 chord. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to demonstrate all this over a backing track, and I'm going to give you a couple ideas. This first take, I'm going to play strictly the minor pentatonic and then show you what it sounds like if I start to add some of these other notes. If you enjoyed this lesson, please like below, subscribe, and make sure to go over to my website, sign up for the mailing list so you're first to know about all upcoming music releases as well as lessons. Really appreciate all the support.